Welcome to my first VRlog. It's like a vlog, a vlog, but it's in VR, so it's a VRlog. I spend an unhealthy amount of time in VR chat by myself. And I've always wanted to make vlogs, so I felt that I should combine these two things. I've had a Curious Cat for quite a long time now, and I never answered like 20 questions on there. So I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring back Curious Cat. I'm going to answer all the questions in the vlog. So this first one is actually not even a question. This is about a couple of calculations I did on my Twitter account like some years ago, December 2019, where I calculated the volume of a Vaporeon and their weight, and then I compared that to the density of water, and I found that if you comprised a Vaporeon out of water, they would actually be heavier than Vaporeon is canonically. Meaning that whatever water-like material Vaporeon is constructed from is actually less dense than water. And if Vaporeon can absorb water, that means any water that they convert into their Vaporeon material would actually be of greater volume than the initial water absorbed. I can't remember the exact calculations, so it's up to you. Do your homework. The class assignment is to find how much water exactly it would take to create a Vaporeon the size of a car. I'm sorry. He's dead.
What do I think of my followers? I actually think, you're not going to believe this one. I think my followers are pretty great. I could say so much about this question. What it really boils down to is that I think my followers are cool. But it gets a little complicated because my followers are related to my art. And my artwork is a really personal thing to me. But over time, it has started to become less and less personal because I've started to gain more of a personal relationship with my followers. I started seeing my followers as a way to get friends and socially engage with people. For the first time in my life, I ever felt like I was part of a community. But the truth is, I've never actually felt very close to the furry community. I am not inspired by many furry artists. And that's not to say that I think furry artists are bad. They're just not my kind of artists. You know what I mean? I have always been very, very inspired by otaku culture. And the relationship that I shared with a lot of this otaku art was impersonal. Like, I personally cared about the art, but I didn't know anybody in the otaku community. I didn't know any of these people who were producing the shows, obviously. I mean, most of them don't even speak English. I don't speak Japanese, not yet. So I started to get really close with the furry community, and it was so enticing because the furry community is full of great people. Very nice people. You know, maybe a number of them are a little messed up, but I'm a little messed up. Aren't we all? It adds character. When I started making artwork, I never felt like I actually wanted anybody who knew me to see it. I was infamous in my school for being one of the most artistically talented people in the school. I even won like most artistically inclined student, when I can actually prove this if I look at my yearbook, but I don't want to dig it out. I won most artistically inclined when I graduated, even though there were other people going around and campaigning to like vote for me, vote me most artistic, not me but them. And I actually refused a photo in the yearbook when I ended up winning, because I didn't want to be recognized as an artist. I always felt like when I make art, it's just me meditating onto the page. And they always said that art was about reactions. They always said that it's about saying something, but I didn't want reactions. I didn't want to say stuff. In fact, I didn't even want anybody to watch me make it. I would throw things away. Nobody ever saw very much of what I made. If somebody else was looking at the stuff that I was doing, then it would like get in the way. And so I kind of like, when I started uploading my artwork online, it got a lot of followers. That was actually a really worrying thing to me. I liked the relationship of my art to my followers and me, because I felt like my art was what me and my followers had in common. That was our commonality, that we both liked my artwork. And I didn't want my art to be about me. I didn't want my followers to care about me. I just thought, I make my art, and then maybe, incidentally, I always said, people will like my art. And if that happens, I'm grateful, and I don't expect it. I don't ask for it. The problem is that people do ask for, and people do expect social validation. People do expect social relationships. And the furry community was so nice to me that I ended up kind of wanting to be friends with a lot of furries. That kind of replaced a lot of my real world relationships with these online relationships that I started to get into. I think my followers are great. I love the fact that I have followers. But once upon a time, I was scared. I was scared of the fact that I had followers. And I think I kind of forgot why I was scared. And everything that I feared ended up being true. That I became socially dependent on the fact that people like my artwork. So yeah, that's what I think of my followers. I think they're great, but they shouldn't be my friends, because that's not what my art's about. My art's not about making friends. It's about doing stuff. And I haven't been doing a whole lot. You know the like little Leafeon sequence that everybody likes, the little two-parter? I haven't made another thing like that because I've actually been afraid of what people would think when I make stuff that's like that. Maybe it doesn't sound normal to say this, but stuff like that's like really personal to me. Like when I flesh out like a little scenario like that, even if it's like fetishistic and it's stupid, that's a very personal thing to me, because it's like, but I haven't done something else like that because I thought like the pet owner relationship, what if people think that's weird? You know, what if somebody says to me, oh, I think that art that you do like that, I know that other people like it, but I think it's weird. And now suddenly my personal relationships are getting all weirded up by the weird artwork that I make. And that's not what I want to happen. So I don't actually have a lot of friends in the furry community anymore. I ended up removing a lot of people, and I even ended up unfollowing a lot of people, just because a lot of the reason I was following people is because I want to let them know that I thought they were cool, you know, just in case they ever wanted to talk to me. Maybe that sounds pathetic. That is the reason. When it comes to art style, I'm mostly following people for their art style now, because I want my interactions with the furry community to really just be about art. That's what it was always about. So I love my followers. I really do, because my artwork is very personal to me. And if somebody can like something that was made just because I wanted to make it, then I think that's a personal thing to them. And I think that's what art's about. It's about personal stuff. It's been a long time since 2019. I wonder if whoever wrote this message doesn't think I'm awesome anymore. I don't know what I would have done, but people move on. It's kind of weird. I don't feel like 2019 was like that long ago, but also at the same time, I feel like my relationship to the furry community has like advanced so much since then. It doesn't it doesn't feel right reading these old messages.
How did I learn to draw? Well, I kind of just drew, and if I thought something was interesting about drawing, I guess I always thought that drawing was interesting, is how I learned it. I would look at what other people were doing, and I would do it like that. And I spent most of my time in class drawing because I thought school was boring. And then I would go home and I would do it because I didn't know of anything else to do. It was just something that I thought was interesting, so I would do it. If you want more specifics, I learned to draw from a YouTuber named Sakra Yas. I think they have wonderful advice about how to approach learning to draw. They explain sort of the mental process of how to think through drawing and stuff like talent. They have lots of personal diatribes on how they learn to draw. If you want to learn things about drawing, they'll learn you. The most important thing to learning to draw is imitate other people. Lots of people will tell you these sorts of things like, oh, I have to learn the rules before I can break them. Essentially telling you, don't give a fuck about style, just learn your fundamentals, grind realistic photos, draw from life, stuff like that. And yeah, all of those things will teach you fundamentals. They'll teach you these skills, but if you just want to have fun drawing and you want to draw specific things, like, well, I want to draw anime, or I want to draw like that artist, just look at their artwork and copy it. The only time copying is bad is if you, like, steal somebody's artwork and then upload it and then say it's yours. Just have a fucking sketchbook. You don't have to share things with people all the time. In fact, you shouldn't share things with people all the time. Only share things when you're, like, proud of them. If you're not proud of anything, then just have fun in your own little world. You don't have to be proud of artwork to enjoy it. I don't know, just screw around, do whatever. What kind of drawing program do I use? I use Clip Studio Paint. I used to use an iPad. Apple iPad Air 2019 with the Apple Pencil. Very good device for drawing if you just want a fun little thing to carry around. But I recently got a Cintiq 16 because I wanted to move to PC. But Clip Studio will always be my program. That's what I like to use. Highly recommend an iPad though. They're pretty cool.
Why, yes, I have played Super Mario Galaxy before. In fact, it's one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite things about Mario Galaxy is the fact that it has a lot going on in it beyond just like simple Mario fun. Obviously, there's like the Rosalina storybook and her whole backstory, but there's also things like the garden, which gives you a genuine appreciation for kind of like earthliness when you've spent so much time kind of floating through these empty voids and stuff. Um, Mario Galaxy, I would say, has like an element of emotional maturity to it without feeling like overbearingly adult in kind of that way that a lot of adult video games want to try and perform. It's not that Mario Galaxy has a sad moment in it or two. It's that like the vastness of space is cool and fun, and at the same time humbling. But that's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be sad. Like Rosalina's story has a sad moment in there, but ultimately it's a very uplifting story by the end. So it has a whole bunch of stuff in it that I think is really nice, including Hungry Lumas. Those are cute little guys. Maybe I'll draw one. Well, the greatest video game ever made is Metal Gear Solid 3. But I'm not sure if I would say that Metal Gear Solid is one of my favorite franchises as a whole, because I don't like V. I've never played the mobile game. I've never replayed 1 because I don't think 1 is that fun. But MGS 2 and 3, masterpieces. Absolute masterpieces. Otherwise, some of my favorite game series are probably... Half-Life's a good one, because every time a Half-Life game comes out, it's something actually significant. It's hard for me to say if Portal would be one of my favorites, because there's only 2 of them, and I like the first one more. You know, I have a confession to make. I don't actually play that many video games. Oh yeah, I also didn't mention Project Diva. Project Diva's great because every Project Diva game is fun. Got Miku in it.
Miku.
Play songs. Mirror's Edge is pretty cool, but it's kind of like Portal in that there's only 2 games. The second one isn't as good as the first one. Also about that first question, it's free.
I appreciate the directness. You know what? Not a lot of people have the bravery to just come out and say it. But that's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about. Through dick. Unity. You know what? I think I'm willing to say I'm a fan. It's not exactly like a fetish of mine or anything. It's more like just something that I think is very good. I think when I see it, smile. Because it can be really cute. It can be very creatively used in different scenarios. It's kind of like a tertiary fetish. It's like it works in combination with the big boys. One of my favorite characters of all time is actually has gone through some TF themselves, you know, and I think it's used to great thematic effect. I think it really adds a lot. And then followed by, you know, it has to be the right scenario. Because if you just throw them together, then it doesn't really make a difference, you know? But if you got the right scenario where the TF kind of like feeds into like an emotional like new scenario, like, oh, what if somebody I don't gotta fucking talk about it. But this kind of ties into that stuff that I was saying earlier about I'm less willing to put weird stuff in my artwork. Because this was asked quite a long time ago and I never did anything with it. But you know what? I've gone through those personal developments now. And I'm thinking, soon. Alright, you know what? I answered the questions. Enough of this. Enough of the VRlog.